An ugly loss for the St. Louis Blues as the game is only 2 seconds from ending, and it's pretty solidified that this game is over. I'm going to talk more about what went wrong, what kind of went right, and things that I liked, and how this team can move forward now that they lost 2 very important points. This is all coming up here on Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to Locked On Blues. I'm Haley Taylor, Simon, host of Locked On Blues, and I am frustrated. The game just wrapped up with a 4-3 win in Colorado's favor, and the Blues desperately needed every point possible. And the most frustrating part about this game is that they were in it despite the fact that the Avs did score first. Nathan Walker was able to tie up the game after that first frame. So I'll dive more into the game and, sum it all up. I'm going to talk about some pros and some cons because there was some things that I really did like, and then there was things that I didn't like. And then looking ahead to Ottawa. So that is all coming up here in Locked On Blues. I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code Locked On NHL to get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. I am live on YouTube, so you can comment, share your thoughts, because personally, I am frustrated. There's a lot that I'm frustrated about with the game. Number one, the thing that bothered me the most was in the second period towards the end, the officials called a tripping penalty on Cairo, and I didn't see any tripping. So that sucked because then that resulted to the Avalanche getting a goal, which tied up the game. The Avs they became the better team in that second half. I mean, St. Louis did hold on, and I did like what I saw. I mean, I like Neighbors a lot, right? I think that there was a lot of good opportunities for him. But again, it's the penalties, and the Blues were just racking up penalties. I don't know if the Blues are going to be able to make it to the playoffs now. Now, I know this wasn't, again, an elimination game by any means, but at the same time, you're going to fall more and more behind the standings. And right now, Vegas is playing the Lightning. Vegas is above us in points, by the way. And right now, the game is tied 1-1, I believe. So if anything changes, this is being recorded right after the end of the Blues game at 9:36. So I just wanted to put that out there that right now that game is tied. I'm seeing some YouTube comments, and I'm going to pull this up. It says tank. Now, while I understand, tank for draft picks, it's too late for that. There's a lot of bad teams in the NHL this season that are going to definitely be taking those top 5 draft picks no matter what we do. So at this point, try to go to the playoffs. I just, obviously I'm frustrated. Darkness says that's the season. Oh, they ended up scoring. Okay, so the Tampa Bay Lightning ended up scoring, so now it's 2-1 Tampa. As I said, I'm doing my episode. I did some show prep, and then I just began to record. So literally 10 minutes ago, when I was about to go on, it was 1-1. So thank you for the update. Okay, so let's go talk about this game and what went right, what went wrong, and kind of sum it all up. So in the first period, it just sucks because, Moose, but whatever, scores, and it's 1-0 Colorado. And then a couple minutes later, our Aussie scores. Nathan Walker, 6th goal of the season, by the way, so 1-1. Second period, a little bit early in, Alexei Turchenko was able to get the Blues their first lead of the game, making it 2-1. And then Casey Middleset was able to tie it up for Colorado and made it 2-2. 2 minutes later, see, this all happened within a couple of minutes. Captain Braden Shen was able to make it 3-2, and that'll be the last time that the St. Louis Blues had the lead and the last time that they would score, because then Rantanen was able to score a power play goal, and then in the third period, he was able to solidify a hat trick. And so that's how the 4-3 victory for Colorado came about. I really thought that in that second frame when they were on the power play, Colorado, I just knew that something wasn't going to go right because it wasn't tripping. And I know what you're going to say, Haley, that's what it was called on the ice. I understand that, but I don't think any single person thought to themselves, oh yeah, Kyger tripped. Like, no, no one, it wasn't tripping. And I don't know what they saw. I don't know why Bannister didn't try challenging that. Like, whatever. It just they lost their momentum in the third period too, by the way. And I tweeted that at Lockdown Blues that the momentum just died. Once the Avalanche were able to score and tie up the game in that second frame, they came out just red hot in the third period, and St. Louis did not do the same. I think Jordan Binghamton, listen, there's only so much that he can do, especially if the lack of protection. I mean, the Avs had 35 shots and 4 went in, so not the best night for Binnington, but again, not much you can do when your defense isn't there to help you out. Um, I'm actually just really surprised about how this game came about. I for sure thought St. Louis was going to put up a better fight in that final frame. That final frame, they just looked tired and lackadaisical, and it just did not look like good hockey. It was sloppy, it was a mess. And again, I'm not going to try to come at certain players, but the turnover from Kyrie didn't help either, which was ugly. So I'm going on to Twitter at Locked On Blues to see what you all said. And yeah, I think everyone's kind of saying the same thing, that that power play goal that the Avalanche had definitely is what killed the vibe. And I tweeted this out. I said, I know all of you are gonna come at Jordan Kyrou. You're all gonna say he sucks, get him off the ice, you know. And some of you are just really like ruthless and you come at him kind of hard. But that actually wasn't on Kyrou. Now the turnovers, yes, on Kyrou, 100%. But that penalty was not on Jordan Kyrou because I did not see any tripping. And this has been a problem, I feel like, throughout the season with these officials, not with just St. Louis, but just other teams in the NHL. These calls are being made and they're obviously not correct. Okay. And that definitely did penalize the Blues tonight drastically because that gave Colorado that momentum boost. But it just was sloppy. Even Boosh didn't play well. Thomas, I mean, like, Thomas was all right, but it just, again, this team just played sloppy. I mean, they had many chances. Um, Again, I didn't see much from Torrey Krug, Kevin Hayes, not much. Not much tonight, to be honest with you. I'm gonna talk, and I know coming up, I said I'm gonna talk about pros and cons. I am, because there were some things that I liked what I saw, and there were some things that I didn't like what I saw. But overall, I mean, the second half of this game really was on the Avalanche's favor. And I don't think that if you even had Joel Hofer in net, that anything would have changed. I think that the outcome is the outcome. I think that the Blues have some tough games ahead. Not necessarily Ottawa, but, you know, with the Wild and then VGK, tough games ahead. And then you're playing some games, you know, you have the Flames, you have the Sharks. And I understand that the Sharks beat the Blues in the beginning of the season. I'm very aware of that. You don't need to remind me. So that's what I'm saying. Even though your schedule may not be as challenging, you still are playing against hockey teams. And I say this all the time. Any given team can beat any given team on a given night. So it's not solidified wins, but yeah, the 4-game win streak comes to an end, which really sucks. I was hoping that they were going to sweep this homestand, and they didn't. And I kind of had a feeling that the Avalanche were going to win, but I just know in my heart, in my soul, like I just knew that if they were able to get up points again, right, rack up those points, and if Vegas were to lose tonight, they would have been a game behind that second wild card spot. And that's what pains me. I'm going to be honest, that is what pains me, is knowing how close they truly were to getting just one game behind. And at this point, I say this all the time, but this is why it always matters, the points that you get, the points that you accumulate. It just happens. But I'm going to talk about something positive coming up, because there was something tonight that I saw that kind of gave me a little bit of hope. But first, I want to tell you about my friends over at Sleeper. We're heading towards the end of the season, Blues fans, and right now they need all the points that they can get. Regardless of where we are in the current standings, I want to remind you that you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports and especially daily fantasy hockey. Because of Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. And this is where you have to take players like a Robert Thomas, a Jake Neighbors, a Jordan Binghamton. You can even take a Torrey Krug for assists that will record more or less in their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and more in a given game. To win 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Blues fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail in your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. There's something that I like tonight, and I know what you're going to say. Hale, what did you like after this loss? I liked Jake Neighbors. I feel like Jake Neighbors has grown and solidified himself as such an elite hockey player for this organization. And he's young, a lot of growing, a lot of developing left to do. But tonight, I saw a guy on the ice that was taking accountability, that was going after the puck and making plays happen. I understand, there is a lot of missed opportunities from Jake Neighbors, need to take that penalty at the end of the game. But overall, when you look at his performance and you look at the growth that he's had, I mean, he had an assist tonight on Captain Braden Shen's goal, his 10th assist of the season. And you just look at him as a player, you can't help but just think to yourself, this is really cool to see a guy that's been excelling the way that he has. I think when it comes to Jake Neighbors, there is a glimmer of hope, at least, right? There's a glimmer of hope for, you know what? This guy could realistically be a player that we rely on like we do with Robert Thomas. So, okay, let's talk about, Jake Neighbors this season, because it is interesting when you really think about it to see, how he's done, points that he's accumulated this season. So this season, it's actually not put in yet, but he has 44 points, 22 goals, 10 assists. Last year, he only played 43 games, 6 goals, and 4 assists. So obviously, it's been drastic day and night. And the reason why I compare those stats is because tonight, yeah, it sucked. It really sucked. It sucks. I'm still upset and annoyed. But right now, I think every single Blues fan, including myself, knows that this team is not going to win the Stanley Cup. And if this is news to you, I apologize. But yeah, the Blues are not going to win the Stanley Cup. Anything's possible, I know, but they're not going to win. The focus that I have right now is building a sustainable team for the future. And part of that is allowing our younger players to get more ice time. It's allowing, us to make some trades in the offseason and free up some cap space. It's the draft. It's our draft picks that we even have. And I think that right now I am focused on the future of the St. Louis Blues. Yes, I am frustrated. But at the same time, when I see positive playing from one of the guys that I think is going to be the future of this team, that's a pro to me. That is a pro. Now, I'm going to talk about a con, and it's none other than the guy, Jordan Kyrou himself. He didn't have a good game. Torrey Krug didn't have a good game. Like, I'm calling all these guys out that we all know don't play well, but it's just remarkable how many turnovers this team is able to give away. I feel like puck possession is maybe something that this team needs to work on a little bit more and how to maintain puck possession because they don't do a good job at it. They need to work on skating with the puck and not allowing turnovers. Now, I'm laughing because I'm visibly frustrated, but at the end of the day, there is a problem with this team when it does come to turnovers, and it's quite a bit. I think that, obviously the Avalanche had a couple more power play opportunities in this game, and the Blues, they did a good job killing those. I know obviously the one went in, but they did a good job on those. Their power play was trash. I believe it was the last power play that they had um in the final frame. They didn't get any shots on goal. Like it just was pathetic. And I'm thinking to myself while I'm watching this and I'm writing down my notes for today's episode, I'm like, did the power play even improve the slightest from the beginning of the season? And I kind of made a tweet on Locked On Blues making a little bit of a joke because the Blues were able to get 3 power play goals against the Anaheim Ducks. And somebody pointed out, "Oh, like they're the worst PK unit in the NHL." I know, but it's funny in a way. It's very ironic. Like it just, you're able to get power and I know that the Ducks are not a good team, but it's like they even struggled a little bit against them too. This team it's something, but I have a question for you. How do you feel looking ahead? Are you nervous for the next slate of games? I'm going to talk more about it. But first, I want to tell you about Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to the IRA with a 3% match. This offer is only good through April 30th. Get started at Robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of the first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC members, SIPC, is registered broker dealer. So we're going to look ahead to Ottawa. But first, I played this yesterday and I want to play this again. I'm going to play a little bit of this clip. It's of Jordan Kyrou actually talking about the playoffs and the push to get into the playoffs. I'm not going to play the whole thing. At least I hope I can end this early. It's only 30-something seconds. Played this yesterday, but I just want you to hear what he had to say because I thought it was interesting.
So this season, I would say this is a pretty good season for you. How do you feel like it's going thus far with, heading towards the end?
I mean, I think we're in a pretty good spot right now. These are exciting times. Right there in the playoff race, right? We're a couple points out, so we got a couple big games ahead of us here.
You have a big, trip up in the.
Okay, so I'm glad I was able to end that. But, he does acknowledge that they're in the playoff race. And the reason why I bring this up right now is because I said this in yesterday's episode, is that he is aware of it. I think the whole team is aware of it. And when I get, my clip of talking to Binnington, I guess it's in the weeks of the Jordans, he talked about the significance of it too. I think that they're fully aware of where they're at positionally. But when you look ahead at Ottawa, the Senators, and I hate to be, I'm not a negative person, right? I don't want to knock other teams down because I do believe that there is talent on every single team in the NHL. Okay. But they're in the Atlantic right now and they're in dead last with 60 points. 28 wins, 35 losses, and 4 overtime losses. Okay, so they have 60 points. Look at us. We have 75. Obviously, a little bit different. I hate that they're doing the elimination now. Oh my God. You know how upsetting this is? Ironically, the only teams that are eliminated from the playoffs are all in the West. So the Blackhawks in our conference, by the way, are officially eliminated. So the 43-point Chicago Blackhawks, they're done. And then in the Pacific, the Anaheim Ducks with 49 points are eliminated, and those San Jose Sharks with 39 points are eliminated. So it's happening. Nobody in the East yet is eliminated. But again, I'm sure within the next couple of games, like the Blue Jackets will be eliminated. The Sens will be eliminated. The Canadiens will be eliminated. So definitely some tough times approaching. I'm so stressed. It's okay. Okay. Right now, when we look at us, we look at the Blues. We're still 4 points right now behind VGK. We have 75, they have 79. The Nashville Predators have like 15 wins in a row. It's like insane, or they haven't lost 15 games. The Predators are playing oddly good hockey, which I could never have seen coming. It's after the All-Star break, they just can't lose. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. We're a point ahead of Minnesota, so that is good. I mean, we should beat Ottawa and get those 2 points, but we should have gotten like 2 points or at least 1 point tonight. Like it shouldn't have been a loss. But at the end of the day, it is a loss. Wow, this is really bad. Yeah, I don't know. If I'm gonna look at the score right now, actually, for VGK and Lightning, because I know their game is going on live right now. Okay, so at the end of the first, the Lightning are up 2-1 against the Golden Knights. So, oh, it's crazy. I don't like it. Oh my God. This whole thing is so stressful because if the Golden Knights win tonight, they're going to be then 6 points ahead of us. It's not a good situation to be in. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's out of our control. I just wish that the Blues, like the Islanders game, I'm going to go back to that. They should have won that. They should have played better tonight and at least got 1 point, but I'm asking for too much here. So hopefully against Ottawa, they're able to rack up those 2 points. It's not looking good for us. It is not looking good, but what's new? All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. And like always, let's go Blues.